Hello everyone, happy Saturday. I'm Steve, Mark's at work, and this is SmokeySteveAndMarc. Either welcome or welcome back. It is the weekend, so we know what that means. Unfinished basement down below. And today's coffee has sugar-free maple donut syrup in it, almond milk, regular old coffee, and some good earth sweetener. Not bad. And it's a 3-day weekend, which means 3 days without underwear. So, thought we'd do another check-in review with our friend Chantal. Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me. She goes by many names. Now, she ate a lot this week. That seems to be the gist of things. Where we had left off with her, surgery had been canceled for what was suggested to be a number of different reasons, depending on who you asked. There was a bit of controversy swelling about whether or not she had doctored footage from the hospital, made up stuff, all sorts of different things were swirling. I kind of took the hands-off approach and said, well, you know, she's been dishonest in the past, so some of these stories, it's possible they're true. It's possible her version of the truth is true. I'll just report on what's being said and keep my own naivety to myself. So, right after that happened, she rolled right into a mukbang like nothing had happened at all. So, she went into two. She went into Burger King and then McDonald's. Now, that McDonald's one, I have to say, was probably, and God forgive me, one of the, I want to say, grossest mukbangs I've seen of hers. I've seen worse, obviously, here and there, but that was particularly disgusting. It was just because it was a lot of food, a lot of dips, you know, and just by the, depending on what you think about mukbangs, there's a sort of disgusting nature to them if you don't fetishize it, you know, or enjoy the stories and listen to it for that. So she ate a lot of McDonald's. Next video we go into is another mukbang. Spicy crispy chicken and crab sushi mukbang and story time. So the trend is we're going to get these mukbangs with a little bit of a story. It's like dinner and a show. It's not a bad premise, I suppose. So, it's still Vlogmas. Now, before this starts, we get a TMI commercial. I've seen TMI advertised on a few people's channels. Either the product's really good, which it might be, or they'll send it out to, you know, just anybody. But she makes sure to get that in first, and the products do look good. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy it, but I would try it if someone offered. Sure. And she's as happy can be. A pig in clover. No shame, no pun. Because she's eating. She's just eating again. She's got the big, happy, not faking it face of, this is food, here's the camera, this is what I was born to do. Be that whatever you want to label that as, she has that kind of vibe about her in this. How so? She describes her makeup, the beauty part of Foodie Beauty, as being sushi flower eyeshadow. Now, she's having sushi for lunch. Now, I'm not privy to a lot of parts of the feminine mystique, okay? Ladies, how many of you coordinate your eyeshadow with your lunch? Just putting it out there. Just saying. I don't know. So she then goes into her date story, which was, you know, she meets guys online, primarily. And she says, well, where else would you meet people? Would you meet them in a bar? You're going to meet them on the metro? You know, people were getting together a long time before the internet. You leave your house, you know, and go out and socialize. I mean, she's with someone now, so it's like a moot point. But people do meet other places. It used to be so strange. Like, people would say, how could you meet someone online? You don't even know them. You haven't even seen a picture, and people would meet at bars and stuff. And now people say, how could you pick up someone at a bar? They're drunk. You don't even know them. You probably should have been texting them for a year first. I don't know. Jury's out. And another point for this one, the microphone is picking up every single chew that she is doing. I was watching it with Mark, getting my notes together, and he was... well, you know his opinions on Chantal. So, she goes through the story, guy comes up really prim and proper looking, he's not at all interested in talking about her, he's very into himself, he's like preppy, suave, goes to freshen up, comes back, they never talk to each other again after this date is over. No see, no hear, no nothing. So that's that. That's her story time. Bad date. Then we have an unedited Taco Bell mukbang. Toasted cheese chalupa, big box. Now Peetz is in this one. Now Peetz, she seems to be throwing him some side eye during this, because within the first maybe half minute of the video, they're talking, they have their food and they do the thumbnail, because you have to look half psychotic. And Peetz is talking very, like, glibly about how YouTube caters to fringe groups, and he identified a certain fringe group that I don't want to drop the name of. And she was like, what? Don't say that, we'll get demonetized. He's like, whatever, it's true. I still like Peetz. He's an oddball, but God love the outcast. I like him. So they order enough food. He gets KFC, because he's a very plain but delicious kind of guy. She gets a chalupa, burrito, fry supreme, these cinnamon delights, and then she got the wrong hot sauce. This was not a big deal, but it could have been. They gave her KFC hot sauce instead of Taco Bell hot sauce to put on her food, and it wasn't the same. Surprised she didn't go back in to get the right stuff. I mean, if you're going to pay that much for that much food, I guess you should enjoy it. And for reasons unclear to me, please somebody explain, especially if you're Canadian. It seems like the price of fast food is just a lot higher there than it is here. Like, she'll be saying she's dropping $15 on, like, a value meal and, like, a side or two. And it seems like if she was buying more, she would say it, because people get off on her eating a lot. You know, at least a chunk of her subscribers. But it just seems like she's getting raked over the coals on prices. Are all of you? Because I don't know. At any rate, they're trying to talk about spooky stuff, and it's Vlogmas, and she's trying to keep that theme going, but Peetz isn't really buying it. Chantal's throwing him questions like, what were you scared of as a kid? He's like, nothing. I was too practical for that. Way to play along, Peetz. Way to be a sport. So they eat, and that's it. Next, she is by herself. Foodie Beauty tries the new KFC Lay's barbecue chicken tenders. So this is going to be a food review. She puts up the what I've kind of summed up as the big girl disclaimer that she had put into a few other videos. There was a couple that it missed, and now it's kind of back again for these next couple of, yes, I know how many calories are in this food. Yes, I know I'm a person of size. If you don't like it, go, you know, do whatever to yourself. So she's put that back up again. She's wearing those Elton John glasses, which I don't even really like on Elton John. I thought Yabba rocked them all right. But they're a bit much. It's a bit gaudy. I think. Gaudy. That is the pettiest thing to critique about her. Fashion is whatever. I mean, I'm dressed like an out-of-work lumberjack today. So, at any rate, she gets the chicken fingers, which have barbecue chips as a coating, side of gravy, side of macaroni salad. We don't have macaroni salad, at least not the KFC around here. We get the mac and cheese, and that's pretty much it. Ranch dip. It's like every other little accoutrement, like everything else she could get to go with it, she got with it. And the Diet Pepsi. Not mad at her. I get Diet Pepsi with everything. I wouldn't care if I was sucking down Ben and Jerry's. I'd have a side of Diet Pepsi. So, you know, that makes her an easy target, but I'm an easy target for the same reasons, I would say. This jumped out at me. Two things jumped out at me. One, she has a criteria, a specific bulleted criteria for good chicken tenders. Crispiness has to be there, juicy chicken, and then overall flavor. So I'm not sure what the Russian judge would give these, but she seems to give it a 10 out of 10. The other is that she said in the US, she believes that we're getting wings and not chicken tenders. And at first I thought, how the heck would she know what KFC, like, is she following them on Twitter? Next breath, she said she went to the KFC website to check it out. Now, I don't know if there's, like, Fast Food Quarterly or other periodic, like, I guess it's not as much of an interest of mine. If I had a channel where I was eating fast food and trying to stay current and get onto the new next best thing, I suppose in that context, that makes sense. But as an outsider looking in, seeing that, oh, I'm going on KFC's website to see what's new, I don't know, I watch commercials, and I barely watch commercials for fast food. I mean, I tune out. How exciting is a chicken sandwich? Really? I mean, is it enough to mention? I don't know. So, anyway, she does talk about getting her passport. to come to the United States. And I didn't realize that Chantal is not ridiculously far from where Mark and I are. She said one of the closest points of entry is into Watertown in upstate New York, by where the Thousand Islands are. Mark and I vacationed in the Thousand Islands maybe 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, and we stayed in Watertown. It's about a 3-hour drive from Scranton through New York to that area, and depending on how far away she is, you know, we could go. Now, she said she wants to see some of the sights, and it is in the Thousand Islands. It's beautiful. There's an old castle on an island, which she mentions by name she wants to see, and Mark and I did go see. We took the boat trip to go to the island, and everything was cool. She said, and there's also a Sonic there that she wants to try. Okay, not too mad at her. When we went on a road trip to Indiana, there was a place called something Glitzy's. And it was kind of like Five Guys, but it was like a very small chain. There was like 2 left, one in Kentucky, one in Indiana. JD Glitzy's? Something like that. Anyway, the food was fantastic, but we didn't make the trip. That wasn't like on the itinerary. We just kind of strolled into it. But considering Chantal's only 4 hours away, I'll be your Grubhub. There's a Sonic around the corner. No, wait, they turned the Sonic into a Taco Bell. There's one in Wilkes-Barre. Hey, let's do lunch. Let's do lunch. I've never been to a Sonic myself. You know, all I've heard is that their banana milkshakes are good and the burgers usually have a good deal. You can get like a 2 for $3 on whatever's on sale that week. So she's maybe coming to the States. That'd be cool. Next video, she addresses once again the surgery cancellation, which she hasn't mentioned at all for the last few videos. And there's really not too much new to say. She just kind of gives the same recap of the story she said before, where her surgery was pushed back. There was 2 patients ahead of her. The doctor came to see her and said, there's someone ahead of you. This one ran late. I think we're going to send you home. So she does address a few things people kind of gave her digs about or that were part of, you know, is she really telling the truth? She said she was given no discharge papers. I don't know that I completely believe that. But, not to necessarily say that the discharge papers wouldn't even, like, vindicate her or whatever, if she needs vindication. But I don't believe she walked out of a hospital. They administered medication. Granted, it was Tylenol. But they gave her some other stuff, too. I mean, they can't just hand it to you and you walk out. You know, it's Canada. It's not like... It's a first world country. You know, it's not like she walked in and they were like, surgery's over, and she packed her bags and left. I would be surprised if that is the reality of how things went. I'll say that. I can't say I'm certain because I wasn't there. I'll say I would be very surprised if that's how things actually went. That sounds a little more fair, I think. So, again, but it was pretty much the same story aside from that. No aftercare, no paperwork, nothing. She had briefly had addressed the, you know, conspiracy theories or the idea that she never had the surgery or that it was all planned. She was very mild and very calm and not angry and defensive, as she usually gets in other videos where stuff is brought up, where it's suggested that she's not telling the truth, or it's pointed out with evidence that she's not telling the truth. So, one thing that caught my ear, and maybe this is because I'm a guy and I'm not as sensitive as I should be to this kind of thing. She said the day before she was going to get her operation and she was going to get a hysterectomy, she had said, "Ugh, I've got my period. Isn't that just perfect timing?" And this is just, again, a very unqualified observation. But after you get a hysterectomy, don't you never get your period again? Or am I thinking of another procedure? Because I'm thinking, yeah, well, that's probably a bummer going into surgery, but you'll never have to deal with it ever again after that. Right? I don't know. It just caught me off. Things started stewing. Again, I don't know as much as I probably should about that end of things. I tried to leave most of her OBGYN stuff to the side and talk about weight loss, her personal choices in other areas of life, because it's a little out of my wheelhouse. But that was the only thing that popped out at me. She said she's been calling to follow up and people aren't getting back to her about rescheduling. In the meantime, BB's off work, her aunt had come to visit. I hope they're having a nice visit and time off, because it's pretty much... I don't know. They're not really doing anything, I guess. I guess they're home while she's eating in her car. Granted, that's only 20 minutes of her day, but I would love to be like, "Hi, honey." If I was doing mukbang videos, if that was my shtick, and Mark wasn't part of the channel, it was just me, and I was doing car mukbangs, would I just, like, give him a peck on the cheek and say, Mark, I'm going out. I'm going to go eat in the car. And then I'll come back. Would he be like, oh, okay, bye, honey? I don't know how the ease with which that exchange would go. I would be inclined to, like, not bring it up, to do it in secret. If there's secrets and lies wrapped around eating and things like that, that's a little more, you know, yeah. But, I mean, I would assume, I wonder if BB watches her videos. He's there in the background a lot. I wonder if he actually goes on and watches them. She said in the past when she was purported to be pursuing treatment for her eating disorder, that her family and friends had encouraged her to get into treatment, that they were not fans of some of the eating videos that she had done. So they must be watching it, and I don't think they had a sudden turnaround of loving them anytime recently. So I'm guessing from her own feedback that there could be some rub between this. I'm wondering if the new dividing barrier in the living space was not just for her privacy, but for his. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. So, I don't know. That's a slanted guess. I'm feeling a little more salty today than usual. I'm getting a cold. Mark's getting sick. Bandit has a cold. We all have colds. So then we go to Five Guys. This was a spread. It was a bucket of fries, Cajun fries. We have a Five Guys near here. And she was right on one thing. The hype is worth it. The food is fantastic. She got 2 bacon doubles, mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, all this stuff, and they look giant. And then the fries in the middle, and some drink. And she was going to be talking about a TMI story where she had an almost sexual liaison with a man close to 80 years old. So we're having a mukbang with Chantal, talking about having sex with an 80-year-old. There goes my last shred of heterosexuality. Gone. I was keeping that in case I wanted a kid one day, but no. I'm all aboard now. So, basically she talks about bootleg booze and how cheap booze kind of fueled a lot of this interaction and a lot of her activities as a young adult, and that she was out on the town with one of her girlfriends in a not so nice part of town, and there was an open door in one of the houses they were walking past, and they heard some music coming out, and they go in and there's these 2 gentlemen there, and they offer them a drink, and they have a drink, which turns into a few, and her and the friend she's with kind of pair off with these different guys. And, you know, beer goggles are a very real thing. I've made some regrettable decisions when I was highly intoxicated, so I can appreciate that part of it, I guess. She ends up in one of the guys' bedrooms. She's sitting on the bed, he's sitting on the bed. She said it got to about second base. And then dude was like, he was singing along to a Pig song. I don't know. And he had teddy bears all over the bed. It just sounded creepy. The whole thing just sounded creepy. Anyway, her girlfriend came to her senses and they all got out of there at the same time. So she said the guy looked a little bit like Chef Boyardee. Oh, you're trolling. You're trolling. I just had this image in my head of Chantal and Chef Boyardee. I mean, it's just not cool. So, let me see. Did anything else interesting come up with that? Well, she did have one good question when she got to second base with a man closing in on 80, who was probably at the time 3 to 4 times her age. No judgment. Okay, maybe a little. You were very young. The judgment would be more on him taking advantage of a young woman by prying her with cheap booze and then luring her into his house. Granted, she went in on her own, but I don't know. So, what am I doing with my life? That occurred to her in the middle of this. That is a very good question. It's one we should all be asking ourselves, but particularly in an encounter like this, and sharing a story in a video like this, it's worth asking, like, what the end game is here. I like to eat, and I have a lot of stories, but I don't think I could build a career around that. I don't know. Maybe. If you think I should, maybe we'll talk later. Leave it in the comments. But I really don't think I'm cut out to be a mukbanger who talks about sleeping with strangers. Not that I haven't eaten and slept with strangers. I just, didn't advertise it so much. And then the last video, there was a random cat break. She was just singing to her cat and talking, and I still feel the same way about people talking to their pets. It's like Dorito breath. Like, you don't mind the sound of your own voice when you're talking to your own pet. But when you listen to other people do it, it's like nails on a chalkboard. For me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I just don't like it. So that is where we have left off. And I hope she doesn't post a video in the next 20 minutes because it will not be part of this review. So where does this leave us? Well, she's dove, I think I'd said last week, and that's kind of the direction it took. Surgery's over, right back into mukbangs. So I guess that's what we'll just see some more of. This puts surgery on the back burner. We'll see if and when it's mentioned again. There's been no mention of weight loss. Really, she kind of said in the back of one of the, I forget which video it was in, but it was during this week, you guys don't know what goes on behind the scenes, just because I'm eating like this on camera doesn't mean ... To eat like that on camera and then lose weight, you gotta eat effing nothing for the rest of the day. You're gonna have to be eating like spa water, and pretty much that's it. We're going that Beyonce lemon juice cayenne raw maple syrup concoction, which is like a 21-day electrolyte Fantasia. So I don't think that that's actually happening, but her choices, whatever. If they turn out to be bad choices, it'll come to a head and she'll film it. So that is where we are with our friend Foodie Beauty. Now, I'm not sure what the next week will bring. I think as we get closer to Halloween, Vlogmas or Vlogtober will continue. I think she's going to kind of run out of a few ideas. So I think when we put out a mukbang with 2 bacon doubles and almost sleeping with an 80-year-old, the content's only going to get better and better from there. If we're getting that extreme for views, it's going to get more extreme. And I like a good cringe fest, so I'll be up for it. So I have nothing to say to Chantal at the moment. I have no message directly to her other than thank you for continuing to upload content. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy reviewing it. That's about all I have for her. And now for y'all, and maybe I should have said this towards the beginning of the video, I was wrangling with Mark and there was a discussion about doing coffee talk, but maybe doing it live. Maybe next week, the week after, something like that. So it would be around the same time. It'd probably be in the early afternoon. And I'd prepare my notes as usual and have them ready to go over and to talk. But we'd be able to chat back and forth a little bit too. Usually when I live stream, because I know a lot of folks who come and check out the videos on Chantal or Foodie Beauty don't necessarily watch the other content that we have, because we have a little something for everybody. But if we went live, you'd have a chance, anybody would have a chance to come in, and it would be, I would think, maybe a bigger turnout because the interest in her is a little bit bigger than it is in some of the other things that we put out. So just a thought. If you have any thoughts on it on your own, please leave them in the comments as well. So thank you all for watching. Happy Saturday once again. Please subscribe, hit the like button. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and our contact information is listed below if you care to get in touch. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Bye!